Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday Night Brand Night. I'm Sherry Danzig, and every week we get together and we talk about these fabulous Niken products that are all embraced in this whole concept of feeling good every day and
Yep.
living in a wellness home and being connected to nature by a mimicry. So these are all the wonderful tenets that belong to Niken of 51 years. So pretty impressive. Tonight, we're going to take a little bit of a detour, and Niken considers the different product categories to be everything from environment to energy to stress reduction to nutrition to sleep to hydration, all of these different categories. And one of their categories is about finances. And I was meeting with a office that sells life insurance and estate planning. So they're a wealth building office. And we're going to do a seminar together because health is wealth and wealth is health. They go so much together. So if this sounds a little off, that we're going to be talking about finances, that's a very vital part of you being healthy, right? Because the thing that causes the most stress for people, and stress is the leading cause of being unwell, perhaps even disease. The stress is most often caused by finances or lack thereof. So if you're stressed about finances, it's going to affect your health. If you've lost your health, it's going to affect your finances because it gets expensive now. For those of you that are in Canada, you don't pay for insurance, you don't pay out of pocket, but in the US and other parts of the country, oh yeah, we pay big time. And I think that's, if it's not the leading cause of bankruptcy, it's up there of one of the probably top three. It's probably the top one that people file for bankruptcy is because of medical expenses. So they're very much intertwined. So that's the topic tonight. And I'm going to ask Yoko to please share a business story. Keep in mind that there's not one business story like everything. Everybody gets a choice of building their business that chooses to build a business with Niken. So some people have a great big goal to replace a regular, a healthy income. And they're looking for financial freedom in on a big scale. And some people are looking for something that is really to create an extra source of income. It could be a couple $100, $500, $200 a month. Um, Everybody gets to decide. And so is a successful business is an individual thing. So the point is that you can make whatever you choose to make Niken to be, and it can grow from there if you want it to. So, Yoko, please share because I know you had a big career in manufacturing before you found Niken. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I'm very, very fortunate, Sherry. I am from Southern California and I work for a fashion house that grew in 20 years to a multi-million-dollar firm. And then I went on to what I consider is employment for management. And then I went on to work in advertising, in global advertising, just to be able to, what I call was broaden my own knowledge. I'm just a very curious person. So what happened to me was my sister purchased a water pack and a sleep pack, and I noticed obviously in a couple of weeks, they said, "What's going on? You guys look better. You feel you're walking around feeling, and you don't have an aching back." That was my sister almost
Hmm.
every weekend.
Hmm.
And then I purchased it myself and I said, I'm going to check out because they loved it. And I said, I'm going to invest into it also because I wanted to feel better. Why not? I mean, we all could feel better. And then at any rate, I did that and I noticed my thyroid that created dry skin, dry hair for 40 years of my life, that it was all the flaky skin stopped flaking in just a period of a couple of weeks. That never happened before. And I said, there's something going on here. So I wanted to just find out more, the curious part of me. And then so I realized that there was an actual company that was very, at that time, over 30 some odd years. And I said, oh my God, the company that I was with, the longest it had been around was maybe 12 or 15 years. And they closed their doors because they were very happy with leaving the business. And I said, This is ridiculous. I can't believe what's going on. Why have I never heard of this reading the Wall Street every business day? And I said, then when I realized when I went to a couple of events that Nikken was basically a multi-billion dollar global firm, I said, why? I got off the big business part went bingo, there's got to be something going on here. And so that's when I realized that I can actually do what I've been doing most of my career, mentoring people, especially young people, to realize that they can do anything they want, and more so that this could be a great way to do on the side or a part-time way or something to build a wonderful retirement. And because I saw that as something that I fortunately could do for myself and family. So at any rate, it started off with me and the family, then it went on to my community. And now what I found is, yes, I am here over 20 years with a firm that I can't believe no one knows about still. And I want to do everything I can to make sure that everyone that I know and everyone they know and everyone they know and going on and on knows more about Nikken. And so I want you all tonight and everybody else to please start sharing that there is a wonderful place called Nikken where you can build whatever you want in many, many areas of your life forever. So thank you so much, Sherry.
Thanks, Yoko. You know, there's a marketing equation that business schools study, which is to find a need and fill it. And when you have the company Nikken that has been so innovative and like you said, virtually unknown. I mean, we've barely touched the surface globally. So it's really a marketer's dream to have something that people desperately need to feel good every day, to have ways to take care of their well-being without, pills and potions and surgeries. Not to say that using the products prevents all those things. It promotes wellness and well bodies, energetic bodies that recover well from great sleep don't need pills and potions and surgeries as much. That's just a fact, right? If you invest in prevention, we know that an investment in prevention pays out. It saves a tremendous amount of money down the road. So it is very wise to invest in wellness. So we've got what people need, and most people don't know about it. So when you have that combination, it's a beautiful thing if you want to build a business, if you want to have a profitable business. Paula, you're going to share your experience with the business. Please share.
Thanks, Sherry. I was introduced to Nikken 25 years ago, and I tried a couple of products, and then we tried the sleep system. And the sleep system has literally changed our lives. I'm an accountant and a business owner, and when I said to the person who introduced me to it that I wanted to buy it, she says, "Do you want to buy wholesale or retail?" Well, as an accountant, thou shalt not pay retail if you don't have to. And I said, "No." I says, "What do I have to do to buy wholesale?" And she said, "Sign up." I said, "The last thing I need is another business. I already had three businesses on the go, and I've always had a little part-time thing just for play money and stuff like that." And I says, "I'm not interested in the business. I just want to buy it wholesale." And she says, "Well, if you ever do decide to share, you're already signed up." And I said, "Well, don't even talk to me about the compensation plan because I'm not doing it as a business." And like Yoko said, a neighbor of mine who moved out of town but came back once a month to see her mother noticed that things were different in our house. And she said, "What are you doing differently?" I said, "The only thing we're doing differently is sleeping better." And she says, "Well, how do I? Tell me about that and how do I get this?" And, I just ordered it for her, and the next month the company sent me a check. And just by sharing my experiences with people, for the next 4 months, the company sent me a check every month. And I'm thinking, maybe there is a business here. And that's when I started to get a little bit more serious.
There you go. It's the simple things that we do that create the interest that drives the business. Because nobody makes money without products moving. So if you want to help a lot of people, the business will allow you to help more people because then you have a focus on building business partners. And so you simply spread out your time instead of it being 100% of your efforts. It could be a 1% or a 5% of 100 people, right? And that creates, if it was 5% of 100 people, that's 500 hours that you would get paid on. And what I mean by 5% is like 5% of the working hours that a person has. If you find 100 people that just take a little bit of time and focus, they can have a business and you can have a huge influence. So I want to share my story as well because I was a school teacher, so I was trading my time for money, of course, and I got paid a pittance. It was so, when I look back at what I made, I don't even know how I lived. Obviously, it was years ago, it was 45 years ago. So things weren't as expensive, but I was making not much more than about $1,000 a month. So that was my income. And I was single, I was a kid. I mean, I was 21 when I started. So it worked, right? And then I went from teaching to getting a little bit burned out and then went into the food business. And so then I still had a job, but I had commissions, which was kind of interesting. And then kind of got burned out of that and fell into a passion of being a massage therapist. That's where I was when I found Niken, or Niken found me. And I was very successful as a massage therapist. I started an office, a practice. I was passionate. I had a great, steady, um, clientele. And it was great. I had no stress at all when I was working because I loved what I did. My clients loved me. It was fun. It was work. It was hard work. And it was fun and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Where I felt the stress is every time I went on vacation. Every time I went away we had connection to the beach in South Carolina, about 6 hour drive. Um, and so when we started with a family and you want to take your kids and family to the beach, when I wasn't working, that's when I was stressed because there was no income. And for a while, I was the primary income person because my husband was going through his own work transition. So he went back to grad school. And so I was pretty much it for supporting our family. And so, as a massage therapist, I was running out of hours that I could work because the body will only allow you to do so much of that physical work. So I was in this perfect place of searching what else can I do to stretch the time, the hours that I have, because as time went on, by the time Niken found me, I was the mother of three young girls and I didn't have a lot of time. And I was working as a massage therapist and a full-time mom. And so, what came along with Niken is it was the ability to utilize my time strategically, to focus on who I wanted to partner with and reach out to people and that I felt like were like-minded and share the products. I always led with the products and, was interested to see if they were looking for something more. And that strategy within the first 6 months of me starting the business, I had a team. I was silver and I was helping others go silver. And I went to the beach and was gone for 3 weeks. And I had earned more money that month, only working 1 week than I had the previous few months before, of being a full-time massage therapist and working for 4 weeks. So 4 weeks with doing massage, and then it was 1 week of working. I was still a massage therapist, but I couldn't work as a massage therapist, but my business had taken off. So that really was the light bulb of this whole idea of teaching people to teach people to create a residual income and a reproductive income. And so that was my story for the first couple of years. I just kept growing my team. And it's a pretty awesome thing to be able to do that and to be able to go at your pace. And, there have been times where in my career where when I was raising teenagers, I would get focused on them and still being, a very hands-on mom. And so eventually I sold my massage practice. I've come back to it now, but for a while I sold it and really just focused on Niken. So the amount of freedom it gave me and the amount of flexibility and the amount to be able to say, okay, I want to give myself a raise. So it's time for me to get my focused and find some more partners and support people. has really worked great. The last thing I want to say is that I'm at retirement age now because I'm in my 29th year with Niken. So I have friends that are retired. I have family that's retired. And I don't feel a need to retire. I think people get excited about retiring when they don't like what they do and they want to stop doing it because they don't feel like they've had much freedom. They haven't had much control over their time. So I think for us that are shaking, I see some people shaking their head because when you love what you do and you do have control over your time, I'm going to leave and be gone for about 6 weeks to take care of, help my daughter with her new baby in Chicago. So I'm going to be away from home and I get to do that. I don't have a boss, right? And I can still work. I can still stay in touch with my team. So I'm at the retirement age, and unless you've got $2 million in the bank, because it takes about $2 million in the bank to earn off of that a residual um, of what do they call it? What are those things called when you get financial dividends? Dividends. To have 100,000, if you want $100,000 income on retirement, you have to have $2 million working for you, basically. Most people I know don't have $2 million. Some people do, but most people don't have $2 million in the bank. So if you build your Nikken business, and for those that are looking at this, listening to this, that are young, and you start something and let the time work to grow, you can have something that will allow you to have a much stronger retirement. So it takes time, it takes focus, it takes a passion to do that, and it's all there for you. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.